Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? This is Certified Life and Relationship Coach, Coach Court. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 reasons why a dismissive avoidant will discard you. I think it's important to get this closure at the end of relationships because it could be a very confusing and dysregulating time in your life. Remember, if you want my help personally, click that link down below in the description box and see if I have a time that's available for you. The very first reason why they will discard you is because of a midlife crisis, or quarter life crisis, or whatever it is that you want to call it. It's some point in their life when major changes are happening. It could be a career change. It could be, for example, this one person I worked with, her boyfriend lost a ton of money in Bitcoin because he was just kind of managing the relationship up until that point. That was one of those major stressors that completely dysregulated him. His nervous system was in shock, and he was someone that already struggled with being able to compartmentalize what's work stress, what's relationship stress, what's family stress. So when that happened and he lost just pretty much a fortune, like almost half of his net worth, he decided to break up the relationship because he really struggled to prove himself or feel like he was comfortable wasting time in a relationship. This was something I had to navigate her through because she was taking it really personal. But when we really got down into the weeds and started to figure things out, I think that was the catalyst that triggered that midlife crisis. Because up until that point, he was thinking about having kids and everything. And then when that happened, he just couldn't. He couldn't follow through with any of it. The second reason is because you set a boundary or you voice some type of expectation. I made a video talking about if you're just an option or if you consider the one. If you're someone that's just an option, and I hate to be honest about this, but I gotta be, when you set a boundary, they will break the relationship off. If they feel like you're asking too much of them and you're not someone that they consider to be the one, which I don't technically believe in, then they're going to break the relationship off because they feel like they don't want to waste time in the relationship with someone who has to be difficult. You know, if that makes any sense. If you are someone that's not showing up absolutely perfect or, within the bounds of the relationships that they consider to be healthy, then setting a boundary, which is good for you because you're no longer walking on eggshells, would be the reason that they say, nope, this relationship isn't for me. I already had my doubts. You were already someone that I was just kind of just dipping my toe in the water with. And now you made my choice easy that I don't want this particular relationship. They might have been seeing other people. The third reason I've seen this multiple times over the last years, and that's they had some type of medical crisis. If they had that life-altering medical diagnosis, they end up getting something like diabetes or cancer, then you'll see that they'll start to think that the relationship has no more room in their life. And that can also be a reason that will trigger some type of crisis within them. I was watching this show and it was a football show. And one of the things that happened in that show was this guy was estranged from his kids. And when he finally got back into the kid's life and he really tried to repair the relationship, he ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. And then he just went off the grid. They knew exactly where to go find him because they had built enough of a relationship to know what his patterns were. And when they found him, he didn't have money to cure the cancer. He knew it was basically terminal. And when he got there to talk to him about it, he said, I just couldn't face you. I couldn't bring you guys into my life, into my crisis that's going on. Like I'm inevitably going to die, which is it's really sad because he finally got what he wanted, which was a relationship with his dad, but it was too late. And his dad thought that he was doing him a favor by not bringing him into the decline of his body, of his health, essentially sheltering him from the realities of death. The fourth reason that I see is they have a high level of narcissism. We all have some degree of narcissism in us, whether you want to believe it or not. But when a dismissive avoidant has more of that higher level of narcissism, they don't see relationships as something that's necessary or as something that they need to nurture. They're very selfish. So when that discard comes, they either found a better supply than you or you did something and they actually want to punish you for doing whatever it is. That could be setting a boundary. That could be saying, hey, you can't just be sleeping around. That can be calling them out on any type of self-destructive behaviors that they've been showing in that relationship. And the fifth reason that I see is that they know they're not meeting your needs. They probably discarded you, or what you consider to be discarded, because they know that they can't compete with you. They can't show up at the same level that you're showing up in this relationship. So instead of taking accountability or doing whatever they need to do to make this relationship more healthy, like going to therapy or going to counseling together, they just rather do away with the whole relationship, because I talk about before that they have this ideal picture of a relationship. You have to be absolutely perfect, and if you're not, then they see that as a sign, of God's will, that this relationship isn't meant to be. So if you've ever used any type of language in that relationship that made them feel like they're not enough, at some point they're going to really sit and think about that and meditate on that. And then once they feel that you were correct, they may not admit it, but they think that they're doing you a favor by letting you go. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys, quick and to the point, and help you clear up some of the confusion that you might be feeling after this breakup. And I want you guys to always remember, when you go and be loved, you'll never have to find it. God bless.